In the modern era, the internet has become a wide source of information, but along with this comes a darker side. There have been many strange events, websites, and encounters through the internet and its back channels. Number 5. A 130-year-old public library, which is called the Willard Library, stands in Evansville, Indiana. For ages, it's been rumored that a ghost haunts the building. In some accounts, it's said that there's more than one ghost. However, the main ghost that's said to still roam the library is named the Gray Lady. According to reports, the Gray Lady is said to have inhabited the library for about 80 years. According to history, the man who built the library had initiated it as a personal project for all groups to be able to enjoy a public library. Before his passing, the man donated $40,000 to the library so that the project would continue in his name. The library was built in a Gothic style, which certainly adds to its creepiness, and the designer was James W. Reed. Charles Willard also wrote the following in regard to the library, saying, quote, "I've concluded to establish and endow a public library to be located in a public park." He furthered this by stating that the library should be on land owned by himself. He stated that the library may be of use to many individuals and improve morale and intellect in the residents of the area. The library is overseen by a 5-member board of trustees: James Kiefer, who's the board president, and Judith Williamson, who's the vice president, Michelle Herzig, who's the treasurer, Kathleen Baker, the secretary, and Sally Baltatat, the trustee. Willard Library is said to be the oldest operating library in the state of Indiana, so it comes as no surprise that it would possibly be haunted. It was opened in the year 1885 and allowed access to all groups of people. About 50 years after the opening of the library, one of the custodians quit his job after seeing the apparition of a woman wearing a gray dress and a shawl. In the early morning of 1937, a janitor who worked in the library also saw the lady in gray. He'd been doing his duty throughout the library when he made a trip down to the basement. He started toward the furnace area, and that's when he saw a veiled woman in gray standing before him. Many other employees and visitors claim to have seen the exact same thing. According to accounts, the woman is accompanied by a musky scent. She's said to move books and furniture around the library, as well as turn lights and water faucets on and off. Over the years, many reports have come in regarding the Gray Lady and other ghostly figures. And so webcams were installed in the library for public viewing, so that the lady in gray might be captured in the act. The library even offers a tour of the Gray Lady ghost in October of every year. The Willard Library website offers insight into ghost cameras where one might catch a glimpse of the Gray Lady herself. The heading of the website is titled "Library Ghost Tracking the Gray Lady." The website offers a few different locations where cameras are situated. This includes the children's room, the basement hall, the research room, the stairway, the children's story room, and the adult services, which is on the first floor of the building. Upon clicking on these locations, a small screen of a live camera will display the room where one can watch in hopes of seeing some ghostly activity. The first room, which is the children's room, looks out over a bookshelf, and in the background, a doorway can be seen. In the basement hall, there's a hallway equipped with exit signs and a few more doors. The research room is probably where most activity might be because of its size. This camera looks over tables and chairs and rows of bookshelves. The stairway location is also pretty creepy and looks over a simple wooden staircase where one might see the lady in gray descending. The children's story room features a few bookcases and some steps as well as a window. The first floor, which is that of the adult services, also gives you a strange, ominous feeling. It looks into a room of bookcases and desks and chairs, and this is probably most likely to be a high-traffic area for ghostly activities. The cameras have a large public following where people sit and watch them all hours of the day to catch the eerie entities roaming about the library or moving the books and furniture. There are many Facebook pages and websites that are devoted to the library and its haunting apparitions. The Library Ghost website offers a Gray Lady history and also allows you to upload photos should you come across any spooky findings on the cameras. Additionally, there's also an ebook and an audiobook section. The last Gray Lady sighting is said to have been on the 10th of August in 2010, which was in the basement hallway. The sighting was made by the assistant of the children's library, Helen Cam. Psychics even took time to visit the library and had confirmed that there were definitely ghosts there. Some lecturers from the University of Southern Indiana who were at the library reported that they had seen a ghostly figure looking into the water. A patron of the library had even had an encounter with the Gray Lady in the elevator. Some of the unexplained events happening in the library were that of water being turned on and off again, the random smell of perfume, a cold, chilly feeling, unidentified noises, the movement of books and furniture, and some accounts reported having their hair or earrings touched, and odd items have been found within the library. In February of 2019, a Facebook page called Ghosts of London posted a picture of what is presumed to be the Lady in Grey standing by the window of the library. The person who took the photograph is unknown. Another image was posted on the Indiana Ghost Hunters Facebook page on the 28th of May in 2015 of the Gray Lady roaming the library. It's also unclear who this photographer was, but this image is of bad quality, but you're still able to make out the haunting figure. Some say that the Lady in Grey was actually Louise, the daughter of the man who built the library. It was said that the father never left anything to his wife and daughters when he passed, and this caused Louise to harbor resentment and hold a grudge against the library and her father, and that's why she still roams the building. Or she could just be a lady who enjoys the company of books and existed at the time the library was initially constructed. An Instagram account called Holly Haunts posted a series of images taken from within the library. Some of the pictures are hosts to what appears to be ghostly activity, such as a strange squiggle of light and a blurred area. The security cameras and potential ghost inhabitants certainly give the library an eerie feel. The cameras have indeed seen a popularity rise since their initial installment before 2006. The cameras are also probably better viewed on a desktop computer or a laptop. Whether the Gray Lady is real or not, there are certainly strange things happening in the library, and those who are curious should witness it for themselves by venturing onto the Willard Library Ghost Cam's website and seeing if they can find any evidence of ghostly activity. Number 4. Social media platforms have been known to harbor many strange mysteries, but Reddit is possibly the one that has the most personal encounters listed. Reddit is a well-known news and discussion website where many subreddits exist. Users make use of these subreddits to start a conversation, to which any other user belonging to that subreddit is allowed to respond to. One such case circulated about 4 years ago, when a user with the tag Iceman Throwaway 123, who belonged to a subreddit called Too Afraid to Ask, made a post. This subreddit was a platform where users were allowed to ask questions which seemed stupid without the risk of judgment. However, the Iceman Throwaway's question took the subreddit on an ominous path. Their question was simply stated as follows: 12 mysterious and identical stores opened on my street. What could be happening? Iceman Throwaway furthered their claim by saying that the stores seemed to only stock out-of-date food items, which seemed to be restocked every couple of weeks. He also noted that one of the 12 stores had been making an effort to keep the food as fresh as possible. According to the user, the town that they're living in has a strict policy on shops and stores that are constructed there, and it usually goes through a lengthy process, but that was not the case with these 12 stores which popped up almost instantly. The idea was starting to make the user even more unsettled. Iceman Throwaway was not interested in sharing their exact location. Instead, they had kept their followers updated and stated that they were doing more research into these mysterious stores. The user later stated that this town is old in the sense of the inhabitants, claiming that it's used as some sort of retirement community. He declared that he'd been the youngest person to live in this town, but did have a few friends. He did show the friends the weird stores, and they'd been just as bewildered at what they had seen. Iceman Throwaway's last update had stated, "If I do something, it'll be this. That bread was a nasty shade of green on the inside." No updates have followed since this post. It's theorized that the account was a throwaway, meaning that someone uses a temporary account to post something and then never uses the account again. Others theorize that maybe Iceman Throwaway's account vanished because they'd been caught trying to take pictures of the shops, or because they'd been discussing the mysterious stores of unknown origin. In the initial post, Iceman Throwaway reported that these stores only accepted cash payments, and said that all the products in the stores seemed to be of Walmart brand, When the user went to the stores to shop, the people in there would stop and stare at him in a threatening manner. Each of the stores had a simple name, either using the combination of the town name accompanied by Mart or Market of and the town's name. Each of the signs seemed to have originated from the same place and were all identical from the font to the color to the size and shape. The strange store sightings have been left without an explanation, and it's still a haunting post to have been made. Number 3. Hashima refers to an island that's off the coast of Nagasaki and is predominantly used for mining, and it's known for its coal mines under the sea. It had been erected in 1887, and the population grew on the island, and soon the coal was mined to depletion and all of the inhabitants departed. The island remains one of few undisturbed ruins of history. The story of the island served as inspiration for an interactive website, but the history behind the island gets far darker than that, which is probably why the website ended up being so incredibly eerie. During the Second World War, the Japanese mobilization policies had ended up exploiting the Korean society, as well as Chinese prisoners of war. They'd been forced into becoming laborers, where they had to work under trying conditions. Around 1,000 of these workers had passed away on the island between the years of 1930 until the end of the war, which had been the result of poor working conditions and pure exhaustion. This unique island is said to be one of 505 uninhabited islands off the coast of Nagasaki. Nature began reclaiming the island after all the residents left. Since the government didn't want people going onto the island by themselves, they opened it to the public with guided tours. The island was later adopted by UNESCO as part of the World Heritage List. However, the initial terms of the requirements were swept off. Even though they still managed to get the island on the list, it was not under the set terms that were of the initial agreement. Many stories had come to circulate about the island. Some fishermen have claimed to see lights flickering on the island when they pass by. What's strange is the island has no electricity. Unfortunately, some of the island's historical buildings are nearing collapse. One such construction is Building Number 30, which is a 7-story building. Exterior walls and support beams on the south side and west side are gone entirely. There's even exposed rusted steel, which further adds to the ominous feeling of the island. A team of historians, game developers, and heritage preservationists made use of virtual reality advancements to create an interactive game surrounding the story and history of Hashima. The team created this game to submerge its users in the life of Hashima, also known as Battleship Island. The name Battleship was given to the island because of its strange shape, which is shaped as a battleship. Even though the island was uninhabited, it's not been rid of the ghostly remnants that reside there. Today, tourists and visitors are allowed to visit the island using a ferry from Nagasaki. The tour is guided because the island is considered to be far too dangerous for the public, which makes these games and interactive websites far more important in terms of history. The eerie island was also used in one of the James Bond films. Life on the island was described as being a never-ending contest between the forces of wind and the forces of the sea, and now the structures that litter the island are slowly dissipating under the harsh weather conditions. The idea behind the website and virtual reality immersive game is to allow for the history and value of the island to never be forgotten. The team consists of Dr. Christopher Gertais from the Institute of Advanced Studies of Asia. Adam Kay is an Unreal Engine developer and digital artist. Dr. Barak Kushner from Cambridge University. Jacob McDonald is an Unreal Engine developer and digital asset artist. Lauren Marston, a digital asset artist, as well as several architects. The interactive website is best viewed on a desktop computer. To move around the island, the user would need to click and drag their mouse to where they want to go. The tour initially starts on a pier on the island, but there is an option to select a different starting point. The other locations include the NICU Flats, the Stairway to Hell, Block 65, Primary School, Glover House, and the Coal Mine. Strange, creepy music plays throughout the tour, setting an ominous tone for the duration of it. Each location lists a short description and what you may find. NICU Flats positions you on the 4th floor of the NICU Company Flats, which was built for miners after the war. The flat stands at 9 stories tall with 241 rooms. This is where most of the island's miners resided during their stay, and here is where you may find personal belongings left behind. The Stairway to Hell refers to a stairway situated between a shop and apartment complexes. At the top of the staircase, you can find a temple. This temple was of great spiritual importance to the miners, and the desolate look adds to that eerie feeling. The exact location was Block 65, which was 9 stories tall with 317 apartments within. The website states that if you look to the right when standing in the location, you'll see the Salt Rain Crossing, which is where residents would have to wait for the waves which came crashing in caused by typhoons to disappear, so that they were able to cross. Upon entering the primary school location, a creepy sound of laughing and playing children can be heard, which certainly instills a terrifying feeling in the user. This location positions you in the Hashima school playground, consisting of 7 floors, which was the island's last building that was ever constructed there. On the 31st of March in 1974, the children formed a Sayonara Hashima as the school came to its final closing. Glover House positions you near Building 30, a construction standing at 7 stories which acted as another place of residence for the miners. The name is derived from the settlers, who believed that the construct was designed by a Scottish man named Thomas B. Glover. A short walk left brings you to Building 31, which features communal bathing areas, a post office, and a hair salon. The coal mine, which was actually a coal storage area, positions you at the support braces, accompanied by an old bicycle. Coal was transported on a conveyor belt that had been stabilized by these support braces, where it would await collection by the coal ships. It's said that the coal was often collected for the deep tunnels which travel underneath the seabed of Hashima. The interactive game gets quite creepy the further you progress. The ominous music persists, which matches the tone with the black and white contrast of the entire game. It certainly leaves behind a strange feeling once you've completed it. Many horrific events took place on the island, which makes the submersible website even more eerie. While going through this website tour, it almost feels like you're being followed or watched by those who still haunt the place. The website applies a street map feature like you would expect on Google Maps, except you're able to go wherever and you're not limited to just roads or pathways. If you're feeling lonely, this would be a great way to help, as after going through this tour, you're not going to feel so alone anymore. Number 2. The world is full of many horror stories which surround the housing market. These range anywhere from terrible neighbors to haunted houses. In 2013, 2 brothers, Albert and Robert Armieri, from Ottawa, created a website with the purpose of listing North American residencies which harbored a crime of such. The website serves as some sort of background check for homes for people who are looking for new houses or places to rent. Although the idea of suddenly finding out that strange occurrences happened at your current place of residence can be a bit unnerving, and maybe you'd rather not like to know what events may have taken place there. This site is eerily named housecreep.com. One of the site's co-founders, Albert Armieri, stated that there are 85 Ottawa properties and 713 listings in Toronto, with more than 2,000 in Chicago, and in total there are about 20,000 spread throughout North America. The website exposes strange apartments that are left uninhabited, haunted houses, and where gruesome scenes or nefarious activity may have taken place. House Creep allows you to read up on personal accounts from some of the properties you search for, but only if it made headlines or has some horrifying history. The helpful yet scary site has the creepy and certainly attention-grabbing tagline, "Where walls talk, over 20,000 properties with something to say." Albert stated in an interview that although he's not a superstitious type of person, he would still like to know if something had occurred in the house that he decides to rent. And this idea is what started the brothers on this journey. Additionally, users of the site are allowed to submit factual information on a property, and the entire website is completely free. According to realtors, the website has become very useful, as some people are more comfortable knowing the past history of a possible residence. However, according to the president of the Ottawa Real Estate Board, Randy Oikel, one should take caution when reviewing listings on this site. He advises that more research should be done on the houses to verify if the listing is presenting factual information. If the listing proves accurate, it may well serve for negotiation purposes. The website even has an Instagram account of the same name, which expands on the concept of the haunted house and includes many updates regarding the website and even some statistics. It even features some of the horrible stories of the houses listed there, and the more you listen, the scarier they become. Some of these stories even date back to around the time that a house or apartment had been built. Some of these homes once belonged to convicted serial felons, where many terrible events had taken place. Some of these houses were once a host to remains that had been discovered later by sellers of the properties. Background checks would certainly be carried out on a house that an individual is looking to buy or rent. Otherwise, the next renter may end up living in the same house as Jerry Brudos or other historical criminals. House creep allows you to find out what houses in your neighborhood might be haunted, or which ones were home to some grisly activities. House creep will give you a basic description of what may have occurred there, but the only problem is, you might not want to stick around after that. Number 1. Shodan refers to what might be the world's scariest search engine ever. The search engine is often referred to as Dark Google. According to one of few people who ventured onto this engine, it's equipped with an incredible amount of data pertaining to our personal and business lives, all of which are available to the public. CNN reported in 2013 that the engine is able to navigate the back channels of the internet and look for something to connect to, such as webcams, printers, and routers. But it goes far beyond just that on its own. The name Shodan was adapted from a character in the System Shock video game series, where a cybernetic entity is constructed with artificial intelligence, which seems to have lost some of its restrictions after being hacked. The way Shodan works is it tracks devices that have public accessibility and supervisory control in data acquisition systems, or SCADA. SCADA systems control the process of industrial components remotely in actual time. The search engine has both good and bad qualities. However, most of them are quite daunting and certainly make one feel uneasy. Essentially, if Shodan has the ability to track systems, that means that national security of basically every country is compromised. Any attack on the security infrastructure would most likely stem from the use of Shodan. And so far, the search engine has not been taken down, which is most likely due to the helpful qualities that it possesses. This search engine was produced by a programmer named John Matherly. The system collects information on over 500 million internet-connected devices per month. It even goes as far as controlling information for water parks and gas stations. When something is searched by a user without an account, a list of 10 possible results will be revealed. But those with an account will be able to view 50 different results. If default passwords is used as a search, the result will be of any devices which used admin as a username and 1234 as a password. Nothing else is needed aside from a web browser to be able to find such sensitive information. Police detectives will be able to use Shodan to look into the lives of their criminals, and so will private investigators. All of your information will be available to them. Hackers and other individuals may have access to cameras and webcams, as well as control systems, or our public infrastructure. And even more terrifying, they'll be able to access nuclear power stations through this engine, all of which could serve nothing but trouble for everyone. Additionally, this means internet-connected devices that have no protected passwords means that this search engine can access the data without permission from the user or individual. Police officers and investigators can search for information on nearby security cameras through the engine, and can compile a lot of evidence against an individual, which all exist for public usage, and can request a search warrant to be able to access footage that will be usable in court. The search engine was initially started as one individual's project, but that soon became a means of information access by hackers and law enforcement to get data on sensitive devices. On the website, you're able to search for certain devices, and the result will be a list of possible devices you're looking for, and will provide you with the IP address as well as the location, including the lines of latitude. With the lines of latitude copied and pasted into Google, it'll bring up the Google Maps location, which means if you have a camera connected to the internet and someone is able to find that camera, they're able to find out exactly where you live. One of the main concerns is the lack of security features on each of these devices. Any device connected to the internet opens a doorway for others to access, and in some cases they're able to control that device. Another concern is that this engine allows access to security features, which would allow for hackers or anyone else to destroy information on the security system, and has the potential to disable different forms of security, such as if your home security system were to be connected to the internet, that could possibly become intercepted by this engine. Criminals who seek to break into houses would benefit from this sort of thing. They can access security footage to ensure the house is empty, and then they can disable your alarm. On the official website, there's an option to explore the categories, which list as follows: industrial control systems, databases, network infrastructure, and video games. Unfortunately, an account has to be made to input the filters that you'd like to search for. But this hardly seems safe at all since the website already has all the information from any connected internet device. Allowing it to access your cellular device or desktop may not be the wisest decision. The industrial control systems category explains that these are the computers which control the world, which are obviously unsafe for public access, yet it is publicly available to anyone. It lists different types of ICSs, such as Modbus, Siemens, DNP3, BACnet, and Tritium. The database section allows access to databases used in web applications and open-source web software. This lists MongoDB, Elastic, and Cassandra, just to name a few. Network infrastructures such as Weavescope and Polycom and Intel can be found in this category. The video games section lets you explore games such as Minecraft, Counter-Strike, or Rust. It also lets you explore products such as monitors, search engines, images, and map information. Door and lock access controls are also available on this website for public use along with Apple AirPlay receivers. There's also a detailed list of people throughout the world who are mining cryptocurrency, including the client name and the platform, as well as the country location. One user of this site came across something called T2000. Upon further research, he was able to deduce that this was a hydrogen fuel cell used for industrial components. According to his findings, many military areas use this particular cell, which the public now has access to. He even found cameras watching different places, one of which was an elderly man sitting in his living room. Further investigation revealed access to wind farms and wind turbines, and all the information regarding those individual turbines. He also found a source allowing you to see the temperature of certain rooms in certain buildings, as well as the lighting controls, such as when people turn their lights on and when they turn them off. But it gets even creepier. You're able to see where some heating pumps have been installed and when they're used. This site even shows you when people turn on the air conditioning or other electronics, such as when one would switch on their water heater. All of this information can be used to determine a person's routine, which can be detrimental. Some of the camera systems allow you to be able to pan around a room, even ones installed within a company building or even a bank. Additionally, this researcher was able to find the system for a large area called Gigantium, where the user has the ability to melt the ice rink beneath the wooden floor, or control the lighting or billboards or any other security settings that they would like to. He furthered his search and uncovered that this site allows you to put traffic lights at intersections into test mode in order to control them with no password or documentation needed. Additionally, you can even access the cameras on some of these lights again with no form of approval being needed. A security researcher belonging to the University of Florida named Sean Merdinger was doing a drive-through of Shodan when he came across Caterpillar trucks that were stationed on the internet with their monitoring systems. These were easily accessible, and the username and password had been quickly guessed. This allowed the user to access the system for the trucks. Merdinger had then notified the US CERT, which is an agency of the government that looks for vulnerable information and lets the companies involved know what's going on. Merdinger had stated that he's particularly worried about the medical devices which may be connected to the internet. He said that upon his research, he came across heart monitors and a power switch system for the neurosurgery ward of a specific hospital. Another researcher by the name of Billy Rios, who finds buildings which are connected to the internet, had even found one of Google's buildings. He also found that one would be able to control a crematorium if they so desired. One group that was researching internet surveillance equipment found some made by the California-based Blue Coat Systems. These systems had made their way to countries which have abrasive human rights records. One such place is that of Syria, which finds itself on the US embargo listing. This group had made use of evidence to pressurize the organization into practicing ethical behavior of to whom they sell their products to. Another search delved into the IODA category, which is the Internet Outage Detection Analysis. This is a system created by UC San Diego's center, which is used to locate internet outages. It looks into Border Gateway Protocol, Active Probing, Network Telescope, and Google. Frighteningly, Shodan features Shodan Maps, which allows you to view the exact street and places where your specific search device is found. Conclusively, anyone is allowed to search for anything, and the information will be handed to them. This is why Shodan is considered to be one of the most dangerous search engines in the world. Everyone should certainly use caution when linking their devices to the internet. If possible, individuals should password protect all of their devices. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.